And that brings us to the co-main event here for UFC Sacramento. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button, as we've got Roman Dolidze taking on Reinier de Ridder, two very high-class, high-caliber world championship grapplers here for this co-main event. The problem is, in my opinion, Reinier de Ridder should not be this big of a favorite. I think this is a much closer fight than people are anticipating. I think Reinier de Ridder is a guy that we've seen obviously fold in his last two fights. Obviously losing on the stool to Brandon Allen wasn't a good look. He looked like he gassed in that fight and he kind of gave up mentally. And obviously losing to Caio Borralho in a mostly striking affair is no shame in that. Borralho is a much more technical kickboxer. He had a lot more success, a lot more athleticism. And I do think Reinier de Ridder kind of lacks a little bit of power and a little bit of pop in the hands. But he does have a nice jab. He can put up some volume. He was able to hang with Borralho on the feet, and he does have that nice jumping knee that he'll attack the liver and the body with that we saw in that Bo Nichols victory. He was able to pull off a victory as well against Bobby Knuckles, obviously back in the day. And I do think that, you know, in this matchup, he should be the rightful favorite. The problem is that obviously if this fight hits the mat, let's not pretend like Roman Dolidze is not a high-class, high-caliber grappler in himself. Obviously a former middleweight, moving up here to 205. He hasn't looked himself at middleweight, especially recently, losing multiple fights. I do think on the feet at times people can be a little bit too dynamic, a little bit too athletic for him on the feet, and he likes to be able to get it done on the ground, but he's kind of moved away from that. The problem is in this matchup, it's Reinier de Ridder is going to make him grapple, make him wrestle, and let's face it, Roman Dolidze, when it comes to those leg locks and those grappling exchanges, that's where he's at his best and can build a lot of confidence. My only issue here is that at 205, is he going to be able to fight longer into fights? Because we tend to see Roman Dolidze fade, and that's kind of been the narrative on him, is that over the course of a 3 or 5 round fight, you know, he kind of breaks, he kind of, you know, wears down as the fight goes on. He gets a little bit trigger shy. He doesn't have as much volume, and I do think that Reinier de Ridder is going to look good later on in this fight. The problem is that Roman Dolidze is very live early. I think he's got a ton of power in the hands. You've got Reinier de Ridder, who sometimes leaves his chin up in the air, jumping through the air for those knees. And I could see Dolidze landing some big shots, some overhand, some big powerful shots as de Ridder comes into the pocket a little bit too recklessly. And I think if the fight hits the mat, Dolidze is tough to take down and control because he is a good grappler in his own right. So I just think these odds have got a little bit too far away from us, but I am going to go with Reinier de Ridder. I think that in this fight, he's going to have to get into the clinch, you know, get into some sort of plum clinch or tie clinch, use knees, attack that body, really wear on Dolidze, make it tiring, make it grueling. And then if he can get on top, I think that he needs to be able to ride out top position and not necessarily going for submissions. We've seen Reinier de Ridder in the past go from submission to submission and give up dominant positions. I like to see him sit in that dominant position, land some elbows. Don't fish for submissions if they're not there. Just ride out top control in dominant positions and win rounds that way, landing some ground and pound. I think Dolidze is a guy that, you know, he is very dangerous, but I think you can break him down. And I don't think the extra added weight or the lack of weight cut really here is going to make too much of a difference. Give me Reinier de Ridder here to get this one done. I do think the odds are a little bit wide, but I do think de Ridder gets it done as a slight favorite. Give me Reinier de Ridder here to win by unanimous decision. Let's see who Carlos has got in this co-main event.
Okay, in this one, I'm going to go with Reinier de Ridder to get it done, and I think Dolidze is he's a big guy. He has some firepower when he's throwing his punches, and he's awkward, and he's got awkward striking, and the rhythm is also awkward. And de Ridder is even more awkward than that guy, and he's a big guy as well, and he can take a shot, and he's got unusual cadence to his striking. Both can take a shot very well, but it's going to come down to who does a little bit more damage to the body. And the only reason I feel that way is I feel that de Ridder is going to crash the pocket with knees to the body. And once he does that and he's in the clinch, he's going to just drape himself over. He's going to drape himself over Dolidze. And Dolidze, he's going to carry the weight of de Ridder. And that's just what de Ridder does, because he doesn't have traditional wrestling to get it to the mat. He just kind of drapes himself over you, tries to grapevine your legs, try to work your balance from there and get you to the mat. And doing that, he's going to force Dolidze, after taking shots to the body, to defend takedowns and carry his weight. And the longer the fight goes, I feel is going to be in favor of de Ridder. Unless Dolidze can land something heavy early in the fight, I really don't see how the longer this fight goes, he's going to land something and change the outcome of the fight. So with that said, Reinier de Ridder to get this one done.